Alrighty, hello again, VC, Uncle Roddus here with another video, another random shelf pick video. So this is for October this month. This is the end of October, so I've been trying to listen to some of these things over the last 4 weeks. My intention here is to randomly have 10 CDs and 10 albums picked out of my selection, so that I can listen to them, especially things that I haven't listened to for quite some time, because you know how it goes. You buy a lot of music, you listen to it once or twice, and then it gets shoved on the shelf and forgotten about for years, because there's always new stuff coming in to listen to. Also, I am slowly uploading all of my collection onto Discogs, and I am got a long way to go. So as we pick out each of these 20 records, 20 albums for a month, I'll be putting them up on Discogs and adding to my collection. Most of the ones I picked out this month were already on Discogs, so unfortunately it wasn't too hard to do. There was one that wasn't listed on Discogs, and by the time I got around to doing it, someone else had already beaten me to it, so that was cool. So in the background, just playing is a new CD out from Mike Knock on Rattle Records here in New Zealand. Mike's a quite famous New Zealand jazz pianist, and I really like his music. And like I say, this is his, I can't even pronounce the name of the album. Vicissitudes? No, sorry, you have to excuse my English. I can barely speak it. Mike Knock Trio and a New Zealand Trio. New Zealand Trio is a classical music trio that he's got together with and done this music. So really good CD, really enjoying it. Anyway, I'll get into the CDs first. So the random shelf picks off the shelf that my partner has grabbed for me this month, that I've managed to listen to some of them. Well, I listened to all of them, but not as much as I was expecting to. Jack White, Lazaretto, his second solo album. I don't like it as much as Blunderbuss. This one here everybody knows, well, most of us. Adam Hart Mother, Pink Floyd, fantastic record, especially the first side-long track, title track, is just awesome. This is a 1994 CD remaster, and actually I'm not hugely impressed with the quality of the sound. I was sitting there listening to it quite intently one night, and I was sort of thinking, this doesn't sound as cool as it was, you know, sonically as I would have liked it to. I'm not sure whether that's something to do with the remastering or what it is. I've got the 1994 from the same period of CD reissue of Dark Side of the Moon, and that sounds fantastic. And as a matter of fact, we did an A/B comparison with the vinyl copy that I've got. That is we're pretty sure is an original vinyl copy, New Zealand pressing, and the CD pretty much blew it away, to be honest, dynamically. Obviously volume was louder, but yeah, it was much more engaging, much more dynamic. So I might track down an LP copy of that, although frankly I'm not impressed with the prices of the reissues that are coming out in New Zealand. They're pretty much selling for $60, $62 each off the shelf in the shops, and I'm not paying that sort of thing money for a single album. Kings of Leon, Only by Night. This was their big breakthrough LP CD. Their massive hit, apparently it was a massive hit, Sex on Fire, which to me is one of their worst songs they ever did. But I'm a really big fan of Kings of Leon. I really like them. Pretty much got everything they put out so far, although I understand there is a brand new album out right now which I haven't got or heard yet. This man here, Jimmy Rogers, Complete Chess Recordings. Jimmy Rogers isn't really someone who really pushes my buttons, to be honest. This is a double CD set. I only actually got through one CD. I find it a little bit, the music's quite the same across the whole set that I heard of it, so I need to give it a bit more attention, but it's not one that really jumps out at me. Django Reinhardt, this is another compilation, 2 CDs, there's like 27 and 28 tracks on the 2 CDs. It's pretty much full house there. We've got 78 minutes and 79 minutes. You can't get much more music on a CD than that. Yeah, Django Reinhardt, I don't know. I'm not particularly a big fan of that particular CD. This one's a really good one though. Sun Ra. This is a live CD from 1992, live at Moonwalker in Aarburg, wherever that is. Somewhere in Europe, probably in Austria or Germany or something like that. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's made in Austria. Interesting. Yeah, no, this is a really good set. I really enjoyed it. It's a little bit more accessible than some of his other stuff. My partner managed to raid the John Zorn section again. This is one of John's many CDs. This is from 2010. Dicti Libra Novus. I think that's the name of the 2 major pieces that actually make up. Yeah, Dicti is the first piece from 2009 and Liber Novus is from 2010. They're long-winded pieces. They are kind of classical in nature, very stop-start, quite chaotic. Not one of my favourites John Zorn CDs. Need to give it a little bit more attention. And another John Zorn CD. This is a Painkiller CD from 2013 was the release time. It's actually live, I think in Europe. The Prophecy is the name of the CD, and it's kind of like, it's not the hardcore sort of the early Painkiller, it's more dub. So basically you got Bill Laswell and Yoshida Tatsuya on drums, Bill Laswell on bass, and then John Zorn honking away over the top of that with his saxophone. And this one here, Beatles for Sale from 1964. Second or third album? Shit, can't remember. Third, I think. Some good tracks on here, not their strongest album, probably their weakest for me actually, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, all Beatles is good. And also get my partner to whack out a box set. You know, I've got quite a few CD box sets floating around, so I'll get her to pick one of them. And this time she has picked out this one. This is an excellent CD set. Punk and New Wave from 1976 to 79, from both the US and England mostly. All the big punk guys are here, you know, I mean the Pistols and the Clash and the Damned and the Ramones and a bunch of them, you know, the Magazine and even Blondie, you know, and great compilation, Public Image. 5 CDs of non-stop post-punk, punk, early punk. I say it's all the big guys, so it's not the garagey, more garagey stuff, but the you know, the really good top of the range stuff. So yeah, no, this is fantastic compilation, and really worth tracking down if you want to explore that sort of music. Okay, let's quickly whip through the vinyl that she's pulled off the shelf. This one here, fantastic record, The Doors, LA Woman. This is, along with Morrison Hotel, my two favourite, one of the two of my favourite Doors LPs. This one is a New Zealand issue, but I have not been able to find what year it's from. Now all of the numbers, the EKS75011 number on the back of it is exactly the same as the original release from, I think, what, 1970 or 71, whenever it came out. It says marketed by WEA Records Limited in Auckland, but the price tag on the front suggests that it was from around the early 80s. This was actually a copy belonged to my partner, who I've kind of grabbed it and put it in my collection because she doesn't really listen to it. Sonically, it's actually a stunning recording as well as the music being stunning. There is a couple of scratches on it, a wee bit of surface noise because it wasn't particularly well looked after, but sonically it's a fucking good recording. This one here is a really good one too. I really like this. Anthony Williams, Spring, from originally recorded in 1965. This is one of the reissues from Blue Note for the 75th anniversary. Wayne Shorter is on it, Sam Rivers, Herbie Hancock, Gary Peacock, and then of course Anthony Williams on the drums. Great album, quite free, avant-garde sort of jazz. Really cool. One of the standouts. This one here was a freebie that I picked up via a bunch of records that got dropped off at Lynn's work from memory. Cleaned up really nicely, plays really well. I mean, it's not a great album. I'm not a great fan of them, but I think they are pretty cool. I do like their music, and it's a keeper. She managed to pull out an ECM or two, I think. One. Okay, it's okay to listen to the Grey Voice, Jean Garbarek group. This is from 1985, ECM 1294. On first listen, it's not what I would call a great, memorable Jean Garbarek album. Yeah, it's quite sort of mellow and laid back, a bit more, not as wild as some of his earlier stuff. But, you know, I think on a few more listens, you know, it'll grow. I mean, of course, it's an ECM and it's fantastically well recorded and all that stuff. So, next up, this one here is The Swans, or Swans. Goddamn triple album, can you believe it? I haven't really sat down and had a listen to this in one go yet. This is, which one is it? To Be Kind, and I think it's from 2014, so the second to last one they released. They released a new one just recently, which is their last one in their current incarnation. I've managed to pick up all 4 of the new releases since 2010 on vinyl, so still got a bit of exploring to do on that. This one here is a bit of local talent, New Zealand, Left or Right. The album's called Trippy. This is number 47 of a limited edition of 400. This is kind of a reggae tinged rock, psychedelic rock. Pretty cool album. This one's slightly less jammy than their first one. It's got a lot shorter songs and more lyrics, but they're pretty cool. They're different, a little bit different, quite nice. Just on black vinyl this time. The last one was on brown. I like My Yoda Productions. That's pretty cool. So this is kind of fairly well self-released. Great album. This one here, one of the best titles of a record that I own. I'm not going to say it, you can read it. Amphetamine Reptile Records. This is also a 3 LP set on coloured vinyl. One's white, one's black, and one's red, I think, from memory, without taking them out. So the Dope Guns series were a bunch of EPs, that's them all along the top. There were 11 volumes that came out between, get the dates right, 1988 and 1998, so yeah, 10 years. They were pretty grungy. They start off with the first album from the early times, the first 3 volumes, Halos Creed, Cows, Halo of Flies, Mudhoney, Tad, God Bully, etc, etc. And, you know, move through the alt rock, sort of Boss Hog, Melvins, Dwarves, Cosmic Psychos, and then on to Superchunk, Jawbox, some of the bands on Belter Space. It was quite a surprise. It's a New Zealand band. Rocket from the Crypt, etc, etc. This is a pretty cool set. I really like it. Really like it. Pretty good. This one here is an old favourite from my youth. My mother hated it. So it is a very 1982, Abrasive Wheels, When the Punks Go Marching In. This was their probably their only album, maybe their first album for sure. Full on hardcore British punk from the early 80s. It hasn't aged as well as I would have liked. And this one here, more jazzy sort of style. This is a CTI release. This is Herbert Law's Afro Classic. Now, this is supposed to be his strongest album. It's pretty funky in places, pretty laid back in other places. So yeah, I wouldn't rate it highly, but it has got some good moments on it. CTI, yeah, I got a few CTIs picked up second hand, but it's a bit of a hit and miss. And finally, one of my grail finds of the last 12 months or so. This one here is a New Zealand band from my hometown of Christchurch. This is their only album that they put out. I have showed it before. It was the first vinyl release from Failsafe Records back in '84. They are a post-punk gothic kind of band, bit of U2 thrown in there as well, you know, with some of the guitaring that has a wee bit of an echo of U2 in it. Pretty hard to find nowadays. This is an original copy. It's never been reissued on vinyl. There was a CD compilation that came out a couple of 3 years ago that has all of the music on here, plus some other stuff from the bands that they were previously associated with. And also the last track on here was also one of the tracks, or two, the last one or two, Silence and Agony, I think, were the last two tracks that were recorded before they became Southern Front. They were actually, I can't remember the name they were in. The guys were a kind of a conglomeration of two early punk bands. Anyway, this is a great album. I really love it, and I'm really pleased to have it again in my collection. I did have an original copy of it back in the day, which I sold with my collection 20 odd years ago. So as I said, that's the random shelf picks for October. I did manage to play some of them. Well, I didn't manage to play all of them, but not as much as I would have liked to. I guess I had too many other things coming in, which you probably would have seen in my earlier new arrivals videos that I have made in the last couple of 3 weeks. So, but anyway, that's it from me for now, and hope you're all well, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you.